from one of our top stories, the new U.S. sanctions on Iran. Jamal Abdi is Policy Director of the National American Iranian Council. He joins us via Skype from San Francisco. Thank you very much indeed for your time. These sanctions are very different in scale to what Donald Trump said he was going to do about Iran when he was on the campaign trail. How significant are they, do you think?
The sanctions that were just imposed are really a continuation of what President Obama was leveling against Iran. And they're similar to what Donald Trump first imposed the last time that he had to certify that Iran was indeed in compliance with the nuclear deal. So I don't see this actually as a change of course. Really, so far, Trump has really continued what Obama has done on sanctions. And the area that he has discontinued is that the U.S. is not talking to Iran. So it's sort of sanctions in a vacuum.
In terms of the day-to-day running of relations between Iran and the U.S. And the other partners in the nuclear deal, for example, is this going to have a significant impact?
Well, that's the thing. These sanctions themselves do not have a significant impact. They're sort of boilerplate. But the problem is that, for one, apparently Donald Trump did not want to certify that Iran was complying with the nuclear deal, in spite of the fact that they are, which would have triggered far harsher congressional sanctions and would actually have caused the United States to be in violation of the deal. So the real concern right now is that Donald Trump does not want to continue the nuclear deal and is either going to have the United States back out of it or is going to take provocative actions to try to convince the Iranians that it's not worth it to remain in the deal and that they need to back out themselves.
We have to remember, of course, that this deal wasn't just between the U.S. and Iran. It was between Iran and the U.S. and several other European partners as well. How big a risk is there to the nuclear deal if the U.S. starts taking this approach towards Iran?
Well, there's a huge risk. The nuclear deal is working. These sanctions, they sort of demonstrate the impotence or the fecklessness of a go-it-alone approach to the United States. If the United States wants concessions from Iran, they need Europe and other allies to work with them. Now, if the United States withdraws from the nuclear deal, I think that there's a possibility that the United States Iran actually uses that to convince Europe and others to basically ignore the United States and isolate the United States and continue doing business with Iran. So I think that'll actually be a real test of how much sort of global influence the United States has after it's backed out of the Paris Agreement, it's backed out of the trade deal with Asia, and then it backs out of this deal with Iran. I think it's going to do some real harm to the United States, and you could actually see Iran and other actors forging forward with this deal, but probably lowering some of the requirements that Iran has had to adhere to that were so important to getting the deal in the first place.
Jamal Abdi is Policy Director of the National American Iranian Council. Thank you very much for your time.